Okay, get this, folks. We've got a discovery that's straight out of a paleontologist's dream.
Literally a dream come true.
A 450-million-year-old fossil, perfectly preserved in pyrite.
Fool's gold.
Exactly. And hold on to your hats because it gets even better. It's an arthropod.
Part of that incredible group that includes everything from spiders and insects
to lobsters and crabs. We're talking about the most diverse group of animals on the planet.
and their evolution is key to understanding how life on Earth developed.
And this fossil, found in the famous Beecher's trilobite bed in New York, might just hold the answer to a question that's been bugging scientists for ages.
How did those specialized appendages on the heads of arthropods, things like antennae, pincers, and fangs, evolve?
It's like finding a missing puzzle piece.
A really shiny one, because this little guy is literally encased in gold.
I'm already hooked.
Oh, it gets better.
So spill the details what makes this fossil so special.
Well, it all comes down to the pyrite replacement process. Picture this. Lomankus edgecombei, that's the name of our star fossil, dies and settles on the seabed.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Now, this seabed happens to be in a low-oxygen environment, which is crucial.
Why is the low oxygen so important?
It slows down decomposition.
Ah, I see. So it buys some time.
It gives the pyrite time to work its magic.
Hold on, back up a bit. How does pyrite get involved in all of this? I'm picturing a creature sinking in the mud, not a jewelry box.
Right. Well, it's a fascinating process. As bacteria break down Lomankus, they release sulfur.
Sulfur.
This sulfur reacts with iron in the water, and boom, you get pyrite crystals.
Makes sense.
These crystals gradually replace the organic material, molecule by molecule.
So it's like nature created a mold of Lomankus out of fool's gold. No wonder this fossil is so well preserved.
Exactly. It's really remarkable.
But why is that level of preservation so important? I mean, it looks cool, but what can scientists actually learn from it?
Oh, it's not just about looks. That level of preservation means we can see incredible detail, down to the tiny structures on its legs.
Wow, really?
And get this, we can use advanced imaging techniques, like CT scans, to peer inside the fossil,
So we can see inside.
revealing internal organs and other features that would normally be lost to time.
It's like having a window into the anatomy of an animal that lived 450 million years ago.
You got it.
All right, now I'm really picturing those scientists uncovering this fossil and just being blown away. It's like stumbling upon a treasure chest. But let's get back to Lomankus itself. Where does it fit into the arthropod family tree?
That's where things get really interesting. Lomankus belongs to a group called the Megacheirans,
Megacheirans, okay?
known for their large, great appendage at the front of their body.
Great appendage sounds impressive.
It was. Most Megacheirans were predators, using this appendage to snatch prey.
So like a big claw.
You got it. But Lomankus is a bit of a rebel. Instead of a spiny claw, Lomankus's great appendage is long and whip-like.
So no grabbing prey for Lomankus.
It seems not. It lacks any grasping structures, suggesting it was used for sensing its surroundings, not grabbing prey.
Whoa, that's a pretty dramatic shift.
It is.
It's like trading in a hunting knife for a super sensitive antenna. What kind of things would Lomankus have been sensing with this modified appendage?
Well, we can make some educated guesses based on its environment and the types of organisms that lived alongside it. Remember, Beecher's trilobite bed was a low-oxygen environment.
Murky, full of sediment, right?
Exactly. So imagine Lomankus crawling along the seabed, using its great appendage to detect chemical signals.
Chemical signals, so like smell.
Think of it that way.
Interesting. So what would it have been smelling for?
Well, maybe worms, small crustaceans, or even decaying matter.
So a bottom feeder, basically.
You could say that. Less of a fearsome predator, more of a delicate detective sniffing out its meals in the dark depths.
It's fascinating how evolution took a structure typically used for hunting and repurposed it for a completely different function. It's like nature saying, hey, let's try something new here.
Adaptation is a beautiful thing.
And it raises a fascinating question. If this great appendage could shift from a predatory tool to a sensory organ, could it hold clues to the evolution of those specialized head appendages we see in modern arthropods?
It's certainly a possibility.
Could this be a glimpse into the early stages of antenna, pincers, and even spider fangs evolving?
That's what makes this discovery so tantalizing. It suggests that the Megacheiran great appendage, with its inherent flexibility, could be a precursor to the diverse head appendages we see today.
A starting point for all those different adaptations.
Imagine it like a basic blueprint that evolution could mold and adapt to suit different needs.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. We've got this dazzling golden fossil, a creature that seemingly defied the typical Megacheiran mold and a potential link to a major evolutionary puzzle. Where do we go from here?
Well, to truly appreciate the significance of Lomankus, we need to dive deeper into its anatomy, particularly those intriguing head structures. We'll also explore how this discovery challenges our assumptions about extinct lineages and opens up new avenues for understanding the incredible diversity of arthropods.
Sounds like we're just getting started.
Oh, we are.
I can't wait to uncover more.
So we left off talking about Lomankus and its unusual great appendage.
Right, that long whip-like thing instead of the usual grabbing claw.
Exactly. And I think the big question is, what exactly was it sensing with that appendage? Was it just feeling around for obstacles?
Or was there something more to it? Yeah, that's what I was wondering, since it wasn't grabbing prey like other Megacheirans.
Right.
If I had to guess, I'd say it was all about finding food, especially in those murky depths.
Yeah.
What do you think?
You're on the right track. For many arthropods, chemoreception, the ability to detect chemicals, is vital.
Like how a butterfly uses its antenna to smell nectar from miles away.
Exactly. It's very likely that Lomankus's great appendage was covered in sensory receptors, letting it detect subtle chemical traces in the water.
So it's like Lomankus traded in its claws for a superpowered sniffer, allowing it to sniff out a meal in the dark.
That's a great way to put it.
So what kind of things would it have been eating down there? Was it picky?
Well, we don't have a fossilized menu from the Ordovician period, unfortunately.
Right, of course.
But we can use logic and clues from the environment.
Okay, makes sense.
Remember, this was a low-oxygen environment, probably teeming with worms, small crustaceans, and other creatures living in the sediment.
So basically, Lomankus was a bottom feeder, scavenging for whatever it could detect with those chemoreceptors.
You could say that.
Not the most glamorous lifestyle, but hey, it worked.
Absolutely. In a way, Lomankus's specialization might have even given it an advantage.
How so?
Well, while other creatures may have struggled to find food in the darkness, Lomankus was sniffing out hidden feasts.
That's a good point. It really makes you rethink how we view these extinct lineages.
It does.
We often picture these creatures as evolutionary dead ends, but Lomankus shows us they can still evolve and adapt in incredible ways.
Precisely. And it's not just the external adaptations that are surprising. Thanks to that amazing pyrite preservation and modern CT scanning, we can actually see inside Lomankus.
Wait, we can see inside?
Yep. And one of the most fascinating discoveries is that it had a relatively complex brain for its time.
A complex brain. For a creature that was essentially a blind bottom-feeding scavenger, that seems a little counterintuitive.
It might seem surprising, but think about it. Lomankus was relying heavily on its sense of smell and touch to navigate and find food.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Processing all that sensory information requires some serious brain power.
So instead of visual processing, Lomankus had a brain wired for sensory overload.
Right, making it a master of its murky domain. It really challenges our assumptions about intelligence in early arthropods.
Absolutely. It shows that intelligence can take many forms.
Exactly. And in Lomankus's case, it was all about mastering the art of chemoreception.
Okay, so we've got this complex brain, this amazing sensory appendage.
Right.
And remember how we talked about the great appendage potentially being a precursor to all the diverse head appendages we see in modern arthropods?
Right. The antenna, the pincers, the mandibles.
Well, the structure of Lomankus's head adds another piece to the puzzle.
It does.
So what's so special about Lomankus's head? Does it have a secret compartment for storing extra snacks or something?
Not quite, but it does have a plate on the underside associated with the mouth.
Okay.
And it's flanked by those great appendages. This arrangement is strikingly similar to the head structure of modern arthropods.
Really? So even though Lomankus lived in a totally different time and environment, it still shared some basic anatomical features with the ancestors of today's insects, spiders, and crustaceans.
Exactly. It suggests a deep evolutionary connection.
And that's pretty amazing considering the vast amount of time that separates them.
It really is. And don't forget, Lomankus is missing something that many of its Cambrian cousins had.
Oh, right. No eye.
Yep. What's the significance of that, besides making it a champion hide-and-seek player?
Well, I guess it points to a pretty significant shift in lifestyle.
Right. Those Cambrian Megacheirans with eyes were likely visual predators.
Relying on sight to hunt?
Lomankus, on the other hand, adapted to a dark, low-oxygen world where vision wasn't as important.
So it's a beautiful example of how evolution can lead to different solutions depending on the environment.
You got it. In a way, Losing its eyes might have actually been an advantage for Lomankus.
So it could specialize and thrive in a niche where other creatures couldn't compete.
Exactly. It's like nature said, hey, eyes aren't working here, let's try something else. And that something else turned out to be a highly refined sense of smell and touch, along with that complex brain we talked about.
It really makes you appreciate the power of evolution to innovate.
It does.
But if Lomankus represents an early stage in the evolution of specialized head appendages,
Right.
what does that tell us about the bigger picture of arthropod evolution? Specifically, how does it tie into the Cambrian explosion?
Yes, the Cambrian explosion, that period of remarkable diversification that happened millions of years earlier.
When life on Earth seemingly went from 0 to 60 in terms of diversity.
Right. And the Cambrian explosion is often described as a sudden burst of new life forms.
Right, but new research suggests it was more of a gradual process, right?
Exactly, with earlier lineages like the Megacheirans paving the way for the incredible diversity that followed.
So instead of a sudden explosion, it was more like a slow burn that eventually ignited into a fireworks display of new creatures.
A perfect analogy.
And Lomankus, with its unique blend of primitive and advanced features, represents a bridge between those early arthropod pioneers and the diverse groups we see today.
Precisely. It's like a missing chapter in the arthropod story, helping us connect the dots between the Cambrian explosion and the incredible array of insects, spiders, and crustaceans that inhabit our planet today.
That's amazing. And it's not just about connecting the dots on a timeline, right? Lomankus also provides crucial insights into the evolution of arthropod development.
It does.
Hold on, development. How can a fossil tell us about something as intricate as the development of an organism?
Well, think about it. Lomankus's whip-like great appendage is a modification of a structure that's normally used for grasping.
So that modification tells us that the genes and developmental pathways that control appendage formation were already flexible and adaptable early on in arthropod evolution.
Exactly. It's like evolution had a set of tools for building appendages, and it could mix and match those tools to create a variety of forms, depending on the needs of the organism.
And that flexibility is key to understanding the incredible diversity of appendages we see in arthropods today. Everything from delicate antennae to powerful claws to venomous fangs.
It really is a beautiful example of how evolution can tinker with existing structures and pathways to create something completely new.
It makes you appreciate the power of evolution to innovate.
It does.
But let's be honest, for a lot of people, the most captivating thing about Lomankus is its appearance.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's not every day you find a fossil that looks like it belongs in a treasure chest.
Right. That golden sheen, thanks to the pyrite, is truly mesmerizing.
But it's not just about looks.
Oh, definitely not. That pyrite preservation is crucial for scientific study.
Right, it preserves incredible detail, allowing us to use CT scans to create three-dimensional models.
Exactly.
It's like having a digital time machine.
It really is. And that level of detail is crucial for understanding the intricacies of Lomankus's anatomy.
Especially the head structure and that modified great appendage.
Right. It allows us to see how those structures compared to other arthropods,
Yes, ancient and modern.
giving us valuable clues about their evolutionary relationships.
So to really understand those relationships, we need to go beyond anatomy and delve into the world of genetics.
We do.
Okay, time for a DNA deep dive. But how do we extract genetic information from a fossil that's hundreds of millions of years old? Are we talking Jurassic Park level science here?
I wish. Unfortunately, we can't extract DNA from a fossil that old. DNA degrades over time, and it's highly unlikely to survive for hundreds of millions of years.
Okay, so no dinosaur cloning then. Bummer. But if we can't get DNA from Lomankus, how do we use genetics to understand its evolutionary history? Are we just comparing it to modern arthropods and making educated guesses?
We can learn a lot by comparing anatomy, but there's another approach that's revolutionized our understanding of evolution. Molecular phylogenetics.
Molecular phylogenetics sounds complicated.
It's a fancy way of saying we compare the DNA sequences of living organisms to reconstruct their evolutionary relationships.
So it's like building a family tree based on DNA similarities.
Exactly.
And while we can't get DNA from Lomankus itself, we can compare its anatomical features to those of living arthropods whose DNA we do have.
Right.
So we're using the anatomical clues from Lomankus to connect it to the genetic family tree of modern arthropods.
Precisely.
So where does Lomankus fit in? Who are its closest living relatives?
The evidence suggests that Megacheirans, including Lomankus, are closely related to a group called the Chelicerates.
Chelicerates?
This group includes spiders, scorpions, horseshoe crabs, and their kin.
Whoa, wait a minute. Are you telling me that Lomankus, our little blind bottom feeder, is related to spiders and scorpions?
It might seem surprising, but the evidence is compelling.
That's wild.
Both groups share a number of anatomical similarities, including those distinctive head appendages. And while Lomankus may not have looked like a spider or a scorpion, it was carrying within its genes the seeds of those lineages that would eventually evolve into those iconic arthropods.
It's like a family reunion with some very unexpected guests.
That's one way to put it.
This really highlights how evolution can take a common ancestor and spin it off in wildly different directions.
It speaks to the incredible diversity and adaptability of arthropods.
They've conquered virtually every habitat on Earth.
From the deepest oceans to the highest mountains.
Incredible. But let's bring it back to Lomankus. What are the key takeaways from this discovery, and why should we care about a creature that lived 450 million years ago?
Well, on one level, Lomankus is a story about the power of adaptation.
Thriving in a challenging environment.
It showcases the resilience and creativity of evolution. But its significance goes beyond that. It provides crucial insights into the early evolution of arthropods, especially the development of those specialized head appendages.
Right. Those head appendages are key.
And it's a reminder that extinct lineages, often dismissed as evolutionary dead ends, can still surprise us with their innovations and adaptations.
It's like Lomankus is whispering secrets from the past, helping us to understand the incredible journey that led to the diversity of life we see today.
I like that.
But I have a feeling there's even more to this story.
Oh, there is.
What other mysteries does Lomankus hold?
Well, to fully appreciate Lomankus's contribution, we need to delve deeper into the context of its discovery.
Okay.
Remember that incredible preservation we keep talking about?
The fool's gold, the pyrite.
The location where Lomankus was found, Beecher's trilobite bed, is a paleontological treasure trove. It's like stepping back in time to witness a snapshot of life during the Ordovician period.
Okay, I'm ready for a time-traveling adventure. Take us back to Beecher's trilobite bed, 450 million years ago. What would we see? What kind of world did Lomankus call home?
Okay, so picture this.
I'm ready, take me back.
A world vastly different from our own.
Okay.
The continents are arranged in unfamiliar configurations.
Wow, I bet that's weird.
The air is thick with a lower oxygen content.
So it'd be hard to breathe.
It would be for us.
Yeah.
And there are no towering forests or colorful flowers,
So pretty barren.
just rocky shores and shallow seas.
Okay, so a bit stark, maybe not a top vacation destination.
Right. But what about the ocean? What would we see beneath the surface?
Now you're talking. That's where the action is.
Now that's where things get exciting. Dive below the waves and you'll find a world teeming with bizarre and beautiful creatures.
Like what?
Well, the most abundant inhabitants are the trilobites.
Trilobites. I've seen their fossils in museums, but I can only imagine what it would have been like to see them alive.
Picture a kaleidoscope of shapes and sizes. Small, delicate trilobites, and then larger, more formidable ones.
Wow, that's cool.
They scuttled across the seabed, leaving those distinctive tracks in the sediment.
I've seen pictures of those tracks. Amazing they're still around.
And they weren't alone. There were also strange, worm-like creatures burrowing through the mud, spiny brachiopods filtering food from the water, and early cephalopods.
Cephalopods, like the ancestors of squid and octopus.
Exactly, jetting through the depths.
It sounds like a bustling underwater metropolis, full of life.
It was. So where does our little blind Lomankus fit into this scene?
Right, our little Lomankus. Was it bumping into trilobites at rush hour?
Lomankus was a bit of a specialist, remember? It likely preferred the deeper, muddier parts of the seabed, away from the hustle and bustle of the trilobite traffic.
Makes sense. Gotta find a quiet place to sniff out those meals.
Exactly. It's in those quiet, low-oxygen depths that Lomankus used its sensitive great appendage to feel its way around, sniffing out its next meal.
So it was a creature of the mud.
You could say that.
It's amazing to think about all these different creatures coexisting, each adapted to its own particular niche.
It is. It's a beautiful example of the diversity of life.
But what made Beecher's trilobite bed so special in terms of preserving these ancient ecosystems?
Well, the unique geological conditions played a crucial role.
How so?
The fine-grained sediment and low-oxygen environment were perfect for fossilization.
So that's why we have so many fossils from this period.
And of course, we can't forget the star of the show, the pyrite replacement process.
Right, the fool's gold that makes Lomankus so visually stunning.
Exactly. But beyond the aesthetics, how does that pyrite contribute to our understanding of this ancient world?
Well, it's the key to the incredible detail we see, right?
Absolutely. Remember that molecule-by-molecule replacement we talked about? That level of preservation allows us to study Lomankus and its contemporaries with a clarity that's almost unheard of in paleontology.
And that's where modern technology like CT scanning comes in.
Right.
It's like being handed a time machine.
It really is. CT scanning allows us to create three-dimensional models of these fossils, rotate them, zoom in on specific features, and even peer inside to see structures that would otherwise be hidden.
It's like having X-ray vision for ancient creatures.
You got it.
It blows my mind to think we can visualize these animals in such detail.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Even down to the tiny sensory receptors on Lomankus's great appendage.
It's remarkable. But as amazing as the technology is, it wouldn't be nearly as valuable without those meticulously preserved fossils from Beecher's trilobite bed.
That's true. This discovery really highlights the interconnected nature of scientific advancement.
It does.
It takes both the work of nature in preserving these fossils and the ingenuity of scientists in developing the tools and techniques to study them.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful reminder that scientific breakthroughs often arise from a combination of serendipity and dedicated effort.
It really is. But beyond the technical marvels, I keep coming back to the evolutionary story of Lomankus. This seemingly unremarkable creature is challenging our understanding of how arthropods evolved.
That's the beauty of paleontology, isn't it? Each new discovery has the potential to rewrite the textbooks.
It's true.
Lomankus is forcing us to reconsider our assumptions about extinct lineages.
Showing us that even groups we thought were evolutionary dead ends can still surprise us with their adaptations and innovations.
Precisely. It's like Lomankus is saying, hey, don't underestimate the little guys.
I love that. And its story reminds us that evolution is not always about becoming bigger, stronger, or more ferocious.
Right?
Sometimes it's about finding your niche, adapting to your environment, and thriving in unexpected ways.
Well said.
And who knows what other evolutionary surprises are still hidden in the fossil record waiting to be unearthed by future generations of paleontologists.
It's an exciting thought.
It's a humbling thought, and one that fills me with a sense of wonder and excitement for the future of paleontological discovery.
I couldn't agree more. Each new fossil has the potential to change our understanding of the past and open up new avenues for exploration.
Well, I think we've done justice to Lomankus and its remarkable story. We've gone from a shiny golden fossil to a glimpse into ancient ecosystems to a deeper understanding of arthropod evolution. It's been quite a journey.
It has been. And it's a reminder that the study of the past is not just about dusty fossils and dry textbooks.
It's about unraveling the mysteries of life on Earth,
piecing together the grand narrative of evolution.
and appreciating the interconnectedness of all living things.
Beautifully put.
And on that note, I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this deep dive into the fascinating world of Lomankus Edgecombei.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you've come away with a newfound appreciation for the wonders of paleontology and the power of evolution to surprise and inspire.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop marveling at the incredible story of life on Earth.